Bitcoin is correcting towards the downside after we created this major bearish divergence, which we exactly predicted in the previous videos. But what we also said here is that probably this correction is not going to be the same like the previous ones we got over here, but is more going to be a correction like we saw over here. A quick shakeout before the big breakout. I'm going to be exactly explain everything on today's update video. I'm going to go in depth about what we're seeing on the slight little correction, what is exactly happening on the bigger perspective, and I'm going to be, of course, breaking down the most important levels of support and resistance. And of course, I'm going to be talking about my thesis that I really think that this is going to be the last move towards the upside in this bull market. Just like we're right now seeing a slight little correction, you have to understand sometimes it's not smart to be so euphoric. So that is why I'm already setting the expectations of where I really think Bitcoin is ultimately going towards. So a lot to discuss on today's update video, including my trades I currently still have open on Ethereum, on Bitcoin, and much more important news here will be all discussed here. So don't forget to once again slap all that like button back above 1,000 likes on today's update video. That will be highly appreciated. And let me jump straight away in towards today's update video. So let me first dive in towards the average to slight correction we got here. You know that yesterday and the day before, I talked about the Bitcoin CME gap and how we basically almost every single weekend fill up these CME gaps. And once again, this exactly happened. Bitcoin had a slight push towards the upside due to some trade news announcements, but really it was more the stock market that moved and Bitcoin had a slight little correction. And I mean, I talked about the bearish divergence on many videos before, that this is of course a sign of weakness after a major rally towards the upside, and that this is something very normal to be getting after major rallies towards the upside, because a trend towards the upside is never sustainable all along here. And I mean, after we then broke the upper sloping through the support line, we did broke towards the downside and of course moved a little bit lower here to around $100,000. But only moments later, we already bounced back towards the upside. So once again, guys, whenever we are in an uptrend and we are creating these bearish divergences, it is just very normal to see an average to slight correction. But just like we saw in the last parabolica, we also create a bearish divergence on the top side. We had a slight little correction, but then we moved up again here and we consolidated ever so slightly towards the upside before having that next major breakout, right? So that is where we're looking at for right now as well. If we can bounce some of this level right here, creep back towards the upside and create a new upper sloping consolidation phase, it is ultimately still going to be looking very strong for Bitcoin. And honestly, what we have seen here is of course that most of the retail traders, they've been selling in the exact bottom here. And I mean, we were talking on the channel many times about this fact. I mean, if you watched all my videos, I've been stating it so many times about how big the opportunity was we were getting over there. But all the people that did watch the video, of course, also looked at this major opportunity we got over here, the bullish divergence, and after that, we just had a major rally higher. And for now on, the momentum on the Bitcoin chart is still looking very strong here. I don't believe we are topping out yet right now here. I do think we are indeed running into resistance. We are running in towards some sell orders, some short positions that are getting loaded. But what we're seeing on the data is that actually a lot of short positions are getting lined up here around 106,000 US dollars. And whenever we're going to be breaking through that level, we're going to be squeezing them all out here. And we're probably going to be seeing a big push towards the upside. And also Bitcoin is right now exactly bouncing from off this lower side of support, 101,000 US dollars, which previously around also provided as major support and resistance. And really what I think is that we're seeing a similar consolidation phase, a slight little rejection before having that push towards the upside. So what we're seeing right now is quite healthy. And really, I only think that we're right now retesting previous resistance as support right now here. And ultimately, we have right now actually reached the breakout target of the falling wedge pattern. Whenever we're creating such kind of a pattern next year, I will, of course, once again notify you. I've been discussing these patterns so many times here, but we've been creating so many falling wedge patterns during this bull market already. We've been massively profiting from these patterns, like you can see over here. We've created so many falling wedges, and every single time they break out, we create that next leg towards the upside. And I really think we are creating right now that next leg as well towards the upside. And I don't want you to set too high of a target. And I mean, what I want you to understand is right now still on the weekly time frame, the momentum is getting lost ever so slightly still here. I do think we are going to create a higher high right here, but I do think it's going to be less exponential than most people are expecting. And just like we have seen, you can get caught off guard by this correction right here, right? And that is exactly what you don't want. You don't want to get caught off guard by these corrections. And that is why I think really the next peak in the market is probably going to be laying around 130,000 US dollars. And if I'm going to be looking back at all the timings of the previous cycles, it is always around that time, November, potentially September. Then the 4-year cycle is technically over, and I'm probably going to be going a little bit more out of the market to prepare my buys for in the bear market. So yeah, this is exactly what I'm expecting. But of course, as time is going to continue, I will be exactly reveal my strategy along the way here. So don't forget to also subscribe to the channel right now, because it's going to be a very interesting period in the market. And at the same time, my Bitcoin trade is still running. My full take profit target is sitting at the 110,000 US dollars. And of course, I'm still evaluating new trades here. And if you want to be copying this time around here, don't forget to do so here, because guys, whenever I opened this trade, I gave the chance for everyone to copy my trade here. And if you did an amazing job here. And if you right now want to be starting to trade on Pionex yourself, create your own grid trading bots here, which is by far the best way to make profit in this market right now here. Don't forget to sign up an account using the highest link description of today's video, because if you do so, you will be immediately getting issued a free $30 to $100 upon registration. So very big deposit bonus right now running on Pionex. You definitely have to check it out right now here. So sign up an account and claim that $30 to $100 in your account here. So very valuable, and make sure to check it out here. Further on, if I'm looking just over the timeline from 2004 to present, digital gold is really rising in interest. So more and more adoption is ultimately happening. More and more Bitcoins are also flowing out of exchanges, which means that, of course, more people are putting their Bitcoin to cold storage. And quickly discussing some very important news stories. Yesterday, we basically saw most of the large asset managers putting down their recession odds to like 35% right now, while it was first like 45 to 50. We've seen the stock market rise ever so slightly. We're seeing still the inflation data drop more and more. And later today, we're going to get the CPI data. So this is obviously going to be very important, and it's probably going to still cause a lot of volatility, because the inflation data is going to be one-on-one corresponding with what the federal funds rate is going to be here. If inflation drops enough here, we can start to see the federal funds rate drop also more here. So it's going to be absolutely critical. Also, we're looking, of course, at all these other important news stuff here. Yesterday, a big news story is that also the debt ceiling raised by another 4 trillion US dollars. Of course, we are in a debt spiral in the US here. And yeah, we're also seeing more and more adoption is still happening on the stablecoin supply. USDT supply surpasses $150 billion, which means there's ultimately more liquidity in the market to push prices higher. So very great thing here. And we got, of course, the Trump trade deal with China. And he is set to meet with Xi later this week here. So that is going to be, of course, very exciting. Then quickly looking into Ethereum, it had, of course, an absolutely insane candle. And I really think Ethereum is right now returning its strength there. We are starting to see the Bitcoin dominance also create a major bearish divergence on the RSI. We're starting to create somewhat of a topping signal. And we do know what we have learned from the previous cycles is that always in the last part of the Bitcoin cycle, which I do believe we're currently in here, altcoins perform the best here. So this is exactly what I'm looking at. And of course, if altcoins are going to be doing good here, it is also going to give me that confirmation that this is really that last leg towards the upside. So very exciting for what we're currently seeing. At the same time, on all the previous rallies, we've seen Ethereum funding rates absolutely skyrocket. Now we've not seen that. So it means we still have a lot of steam towards the upside. And really, I explained it many times before here, but we created the largest Ethereum move since 2021 here, and we all know what happened after that here. We went in an absolutely major bull market towards the upside here. So super excited for that here. Ultimately, guys, make sure to do your research. I really believe that we are right now in that final part of the bull market where altcoins are set to explode, where Ethereum is set to bounce against Bitcoin. And yeah, make sure to do your own research. But ultimately, I think Bitcoin is creating a slight little correction before creating that next rally higher. We can see it from all the data points. Every single time whenever we had this MACD crossover, we did extraordinary. And I do think it is going to be exactly happening the same again here. So this was it from me in today's update video. If you did enjoy it, like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Goodbye.